Welcome back, guys, to Nopes and Opes. I'm joined by my lovely co-host Hylan.
Yeah.
Late here in Minnesota, so we have a little ambiance setting for the video viewers.
Yeah.
So it's nice. I'm trying out a new microphone. We bought a third microphone for when we eventually have a guest.
Yeah.
So hopefully this sounds good. If it doesn't sound good, I'll hopefully fix it in post.
Well, yeah. I hope it sounds good too.
I mean, I think it'll be fine. There's all these little intricate things I do once it gets into editing that I'll have to figure out and all that jazz. But it'll be
Okay.
fine. So we'll be
Yeah,
good.
I'm not going to worry about that at all.
Yeah, I mean, why worry yourself?
Yeah, exactly.
So today we're going to talk about a topic that we have visited a lot, specifically because it hits home pretty heavily with me. And Highland, you can kind of add your own spin to it as well. But there's this specific video that was recommended to me through the YouTube algorithms by this poet David Whyte, and me and Hylan just watched the video, and there's various other videos we watched of his, and he's extremely well articulated, almost too poetic sometimes.
Well, I mean, he is a poet. So, like a master of language and using words in a just magnificent manner. But yeah, like I think of myself as pretty intelligent and able to like listen to things and comprehend on a pretty deep level. But I gotta say, like watching a 9-minute video of this guy speak, there were so many times where I was just like, I don't know. And also, I'm a little bit tired too. So
It's the end of the day. We're winding down.
Yeah. And, well, can I just say one thing? Like, I think this is super funny. Like, this is totally not gonna lead us into
And that's fine.
philosophical. But I was just thinking about it, and I'm like, oh my gosh! Like, I did a really good job changing up the uniform.
And
Like,
I've worn the same outfit the entire time we've been here.
no, but I just think it's so funny because, like usually I have on the same uniform
Yeah.
underneath the hoodie, but like just by taking out the hoodie, it looks
Yeah.
as though this is a brand new day
Yeah.
and things are totally different. But really, nah,
Yeah.
not at all.
Yeah.
Like I just took off one layer and things that like look totally different, but nah, the
Yeah,
exact
I've
same.
just added layers through each episode.
Yeah.
Like before, I wasn't wearing this jacket. Then I put on the jacket. Now I have the jacket and the beanie. And the
Well, I
sweatshirt.
feel as if it's appropriate homage to Minnesota and
Exactly.
Paul Bunyan and
Yeah.
Babe the Blue Ox.
Yeah.
Like, I feel as if for whatever reason we need to go cut some firewood or whatever. You're ready to go.
Ooh, I'm ready.
Yeah.
I got the lumberjack outfit on.
Yeah.
So what this David Whyte video is about, it's kind of hard to nail down because he's so poetic, but the title of it was just David Whyte Lost, and it just was on the idea of being lost. And the reason why this hit home with me so much is so, as we've talked about in the past, one of my biggest struggles just in my life is always kind of like not necessarily purpose. I guess we could say purpose, right? Career oriented. I've very put a lot of effort and a lot of importance on what my career is. So much so that it became a part of my identity, and I didn't feel like I could identify with anything else but whatever my career was at the time, whether it was real estate, sales, working at Target, being a barista, being a bartender, all of those things, right? And so what's happened now is like I moved back to Minnesota, I accomplished the goal, or I moved back home from Minnesota, accomplished my goal of getting out of credit card debt, and now I'm in the position to make a decision to live the life that I want, right? And pursue whatever career or life that I think will be best for me. And I had this like hard time where Hyland came and he visited, and the last time you came, we recorded a bunch of podcasts, and I just was struggling because I couldn't find out what I wanted to do. I started to look at possibly getting into therapy, going to school for that, going to school to be a chiropractor, thinking about getting another sales job, working in corporate to afford to live in Chicago. And so just just kind of throwing darts at a dartboard, seeing what would stick. And I come across this video, so I've started to work out, and I've started to kind of like find some purpose in just like looking out for myself, being more confident, and just kind of tackling daily things to make myself feel better and get a balance of dopamine, right? And with that, I wanted to have like a clear head to be able to think about, okay, what do I want to do next? I can't be focused on flooding my brain with dopamine and then not being able to focus on making this important decision. So I finally feel like I'm at an equal balance of dopamine and kind of feel like I have a clear head, and I have no idea what the path is. I
Hmm.
like can't narrow it down. I have felt lost. I even said to myself, like I get home from work because I'm a bartender and I get home late, and we have this little bench that's right out front, outside of the front door, or that Adirondack chair that my dad
Hmm.
has out there.
Yeah.
And I'll just sit there at like 1 o'clock in the morning, and I'll just kind of look up at the stars, and I'll like talk to myself or think. I'll have a moment of reflection before I go in and whatnot. And, I'll think back about the day or the night, or, if I was able to talk to a cute girl or whatever it may be on the day. Um, and there's some like really emotional times where I'll sit out there because I've had moments where I drive back from the bar and I'm like, I had this sad thought the other day. I was like, I'm tired of driving home alone. Like
Oh.
I'm tired of being in this car all by myself
Oh.
because it's been a while since I've had like a deep connection with someone from like a relationship aspect, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And so I had one of these nights where I was sitting there just kind of talking to myself, and I was like, I don't even know if I want to be a comedian anymore, you know? And I was like, I don't even know if I really want to do that because the thing is that I've always made it a part of my identity. They're like, I want to be a comedian. Like, that is my identity. And it feels like I have to put so much pressure and focus into doing it. Like, I constantly am telling myself, like, you need to go do stand up, you need to be writing, you need to be doing these things. And I'm like, why am I having this feeling of forcing myself to do this? It doesn't feel natural. If you find something you're passionate about, it should pull you. You shouldn't have to push yourself towards it,
Oh.
right?
Okay. Okay.
And
I
so
don't know. Okay.
I saw this video and he talks about being lost. And the way it starts is he has this kind of little phrase, and I'm going to pull it up right here so we can kind of play a little bit of it. And excuse me, I will have the video linked so you guys can watch it for yourself. Pretty poetic and kind of hard to dissect, so I'm not going to have it. And I don't have all the equipment to do it here. But it says, how do you know that you're on the right path? Because it disappears. And that's exactly the sensation I felt, is that whatever path I had been trying to push myself towards, it feels like it's completely gone because everything that I've been trying to do, I keep getting kind of rejected, like applying wise and whatnot. And it is felt like I've constantly put so much effort into like trying to think of the future that I have no real ability to be present with who I am today. And so it started to make me go like, you know what? I just need to like take it day by day and really invest in what I'm doing on a day-to-day basis rather than stressing so much about like where am I going to be in 2 years? Like when am I going to be able to move out of my parents' apartment? Or not apartment. Where am I going to be able to move out of my parents' house and get my own apartment?
Yeah.
Like when am I going to have these abilities to do this, and putting so much stress on it and feeling guilty and feeling kind of like the shame of it too, like not being able to have a conversation with someone and be like, "Oh, where do you live?" And I'm like, "Oh, I live in High Point." And they're like, "Oh," and then they're like, "Oh, you own a house?" I'm like, "I live with my parents," right?
Yeah.
And there's that shame behind it, and it's
Yeah.
like that's not
Like
you're not being
the
authentic.
moment before you have to give
Yeah,
that
yeah,
answer, you're
yeah,
just like,
yeah,
here
yeah.
it
And
comes.
I don't want that anymore.
Yeah.
Like I want to be confident in what I have. So that's kind of what is the basis of this episode and the beginning of it. I'll have more to say about it, but I kind of went on a 10-minute rant. So I'll let Hylan say a few words.
Well, actually, I didn't know exactly what I was gonna say in this, but that 10-minute introduction, which I appreciate, and I think really, I I think part of the magic of this, and again, I know that's a term that or the saying that I say all the time, but um, like the ability just to kind of go places that are pretty vulnerable and pretty, like I think you, like in that I was gonna say, oh, you went to kind of the dark black, um,
Contemplative place
yeah,
of isolation. Yeah.
yeah, like yeah, place of self doubt, right?
Yeah. Self doubt.
And I think that that's a place that all of us visit
Yeah.
much more than we're willing to admit. But one thing, that was really interesting to me in listening to you is that, like, I live my life like just not in a way that's meant for others, but it is very much meant for me. And like I'm thinking about this because people are asking me like, what are you going to do next? Because my contract
Yeah.
ends in the end of this month, and I have not done anything to like plan for the future or whatever. And I never do anything to plan for the future. And my answer is, I don't know. It'll just work out. And like in hearing and listening to you, I was just thinking about it. It's like, I don't know, like the path just works out. Like
Yeah.
I don't necessarily have to follow the path. Like the path just kind of comes to me and it's
Yeah.
like, oh, like here we go. Like you just, oh, here's a right turn, here's a left turn, and then oh, here you are. And you're in this position and you're in this position and you're building fences and then you're doing a podcast and then you start this and this happens and it it's just really strange to me and I would not recommend that for anybody else. But I think that for me, I have not been on a path my whole life. Like I've never really been following anything or anybody, and it has worked out extremely well. There have been some huge hiccups. There have been some huge obstacles. There have been moments of severe, severe, dark, black, contemplative, nights of self doubt and self criticism and things like that. But yeah, like that. So that's where that took me. Like
Hmm.
it was really interesting to me because I think my path hasn't disappeared. I just have never even thought that I'm on a path.
Yeah.
Like I just for me, like people are like, aren't you worried that life's not like you don't know where you're gonna go? And I mean, of course, I do have those worries, but it's never enough to motivate me to do anything. I just feel like life is gonna work out for me.
Yeah.
Like the path is going to reveal itself, and things are just gonna continue to move forward.
Yeah. And I kind of have had the opposite.
I feel like most people have like I don't
I
think
feel like
that's
I'm like
normal.
destined for something, right? Like
Oh,
I always and that destined such like a prolific word, like like a great purpose, if you will. But I always have like put myself like the language I say to myself is like, you need to become this. This is what you're aiming for. This is what you want to get to. And I think to some degree that's important for people, like if you want to, for instance, like if you're a little kid and you're like, I want to be a firefighter, and you like, that's not just a phase, you actually do want to be a firefighter. You just keep telling yourself you want to be a firefighter, and then you kind of do the things to get to that point and you become a firefighter. Yippee. Um, but something I've struggled with so much is that everything that I thought I wanted has kind of like faded. And the next part of the David Whyte video is he talks about all of your semblance of identity is lost. And that I started to feel, right?
mm,
Because a lot of the things I identified with that happened when I was last in Minnesota, like I lost. Like the relationship was a huge part of my identity.
mm,
My career has always been a huge part of my identity
yeah,
to a detrimental point
yeah,
where I lose a big sense of self.
mm,
And so what the video did, and was really nice, is it gave me kind of this calm in being like, I don't really know what the hell is next. I kind of don't know, and I'm not doing nothing. Like every time I'm in work or I'm in life, I'm trying to basically just take advantage of every moment that I have. Like last night, we were sitting around the table.
Yeah.
I could easily just shut up, not talk, and just observe. But I was like, no, like let me interact because like Hylan sat. If you're ever out with a friend group, like Hylan is my friend, and these are all of Hylan's friends who I've got to meet through him. So usually you're like, Hylan's the social blanket for me in case I am like, I don't really know you guys. Like,
That's
yeah,
a horrible social blanket.
horrible. Yeah, Hylan's the worst. It's more of like a paper towel. So Hylan sat at the other edge of the table, and I was sitting next to Stefan and Hugo, and Stefan and Hugo are friends, and Stefan is Hylan's not roommate, but essentially roommate. He lives across the hall, and they hang out all the time. And I haven't had a lot of one-on-one time with Stefan, and barely any with Hugo. It's always been Hylan there, but we were sitting on this side of the table, and I just was so engaged, and we had this amazing, fun conversation, and I talked about the podcast, and I talked about dating. We talked about all these different things and these fun topics, and to the point where like I had an effect on Hugo that night. He like asked a girl out, and it was an exciting like celebratory
Yeah.
night of just doing things, and so.
It was one of it's one of the best nights that
And
I've had
I
in a
was
long
smiling
time.
the whole time. Like
Yeah.
I was like, oh, coming here was so worth it. Not that I thought it was going to be worth it from the get go, but I was like, even if I left tomorrow morning and I only recorded 2 episodes with Hylan and I had that night, it was worth it,
Yeah.
right? And just I felt a lot of love from all these guys, and just felt a community sense that like felt super important, and I was present, and I wasn't worried about what the future had to hold. I just got to enjoy the moment
Yeah.
and the emotions I was feeling with people around me. And so, what also has come is it made me start to be like, you think you should be a comedian, or you should be an actor, or you should write a TV show, or you should do this, or you should follow the same path as this person or that person. And you're just kind of setting yourself up for failure because you're like, oh, if I don't get to that point, I'm going to be upset because I never achieved this grandiose idea. And it made me start to be like, why don't you lean into the things that you are passionate about and you're having fun? Like we have had a pretty big break from the podcast, about a month,
Yeah.
right? We didn't purposely take a break. It's just kind of like Alan's been very busy with his career and whatnot. I've been busy with my job and all those things. And so I really started to pull away from the podcast. Not that I didn't want to do it, but like didn't do any extra work for it. I uploaded videos and episodes, etc. But now I'm kind of like, I should put more effort into the things that I am passionate about and I enjoy, like the podcast. And it just kind of gave me a calmness of like, oh, maybe like if I put more effort into this, maybe I can grow this even more. Like instead of not believing in it and thinking like, oh, maybe I'm not good enough for like to have a super good podcast. And when I talk to people about it, there's a little bit of shame, there's a little bit of embarrassment of like, yeah, I have this podcast, and I mean, I don't know what I'm talking about, but in reality, like I do believe in it. Like I think we talk about a lot of important things. We share a lot of vulnerable moments, and it sheds some light on just living life. And I think it's powerful, right?
Yeah.
And we've gotten really good reception from the people that do listen. Like even Stefan was, when I was talking about it, he was telling Hugo, he's like, yeah, it's really cool. And like, I believed Stefan. I didn't feel that he was saying that just to be nice. It felt, supportive. And I was
No,
like,
he
yeah,
actually likes it.
yeah,
No, one thing. I'm sorry. Are you okay to
yeah, yeah, yeah,
interrupt?
yeah.
So okay, two things here. And I don't know if you're gonna get to the stillness part. Should I wait
No,
for
no,
that?
just go.
Well, okay. So one thing that I just noticed when you were speaking, and again, like this is the magic. This is so much the magic for me. Like in these conversations, I have these realizations or just these moments where I'm like, whoa, that is so cool. But I just realized, like, if you are in the moment, if you are concentrating on the here, there's no need to look for the path because the path is future oriented, right? It's somewhere where you want to go
Yeah.
in the future. But if you are present right here, right now, you are absorbed in this moment, right? like this moment right now, there's no need for a path.
Yeah.
Everything else disappears. Like it is just everything that you are surrounded with. Like right now, our moment is you and I sitting in two chairs that I think I got from I don't know
The
wherever.
street.
Yeah, like and just like having like a really cool moment together, and there's no need to think about like, oh, what's gonna happen here, what's
Yeah.
gonna happen here, like what am I gonna be doing from a year from now. And I just think that's really cool.
Yeah.
Like if you have the chance, if you have the ability to live in the now, there's absolutely no need for a path.
No.
Like that's wild.
No.
Like to me, I don't know, maybe I'm just like,
No, I mean, I agree now. In the past, I'd be like, you gotta like figure out what you want to do. And I don't necessarily think that it's good advice not to figure out what you want to do. Um, and like you said, like your way of living is very specific to you because it works, right? And I think we talk a lot about figuring out what works for you. And I just like have found in my life I've been
excuse me.
so focused on the future. So I'm always focused on the future so much so that I don't enjoy the present and I'm not having fun and I'm not actually exploring the opportunities that are around me,
Yeah.
right? Like, for instance, if I constantly think about the future and I don't really take this podcast serious, and I'm like, I want to be a comedian, I want to be an actor, like, I have this podcast, but I'm not going to put as much effort into it as I can because all my effort's going somewhere else, right?
Yeah.
Eventually, we might be like, I'm kind of done making the trip. Like you move somewhere, or maybe, like I get a wife and kids and it's not actually feasible, then like you missed out on the opportunity that you had in the moment because you were so worried about what was going to happen in the future. You didn't actually, you took the thing granted for you. You took the thing that you have now for granted. So it really made me go like, all right, I'm going to put way more effort into the podcast of like, constantly trying to edit videos, like making shorts again, like making the Instagram page for the podcast, trying to grow it, trying to reach out to people to like have them on as guests and just try and branch out because I don't know, like I have so much fun doing this and so much enjoyment and like, if to think about the future career-wise, like if I could make money doing this, like hell yeah, I would love to do that. And the whole idea of like, oh, Rowan, but you're not a comedian, you're not an actor. I wouldn't care. Like I would lose that. And I put so much emphasis on it in the past. Like that is what you have to do to feel joy. And it's like if I can just find something I enjoy doing and am passionate about, that's kind of my goal now versus it being
Well,
a specific career, if that makes sense.
oh man, there's so many things that are happening for me right now.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, so for me, I think like and I think sometimes I'm kind of a stickler for words and semantics and things like that. Like some people might say, "Ah, Hylan, that's just words. That's just the way that it's said or whatever." But I think, like in listening to you, I think this is also a really important concept. But so much of our world is focused on finding joy, right? Finding happiness.
Yeah.
Um, on the journey, on the path, whatever. And I don't know if I'm going to say this correctly or like with the magnitude that it just struck my whole being, but joy is simply experiencing the now. Whatever whatever it is you're doing. Right now, I am absolutely happy. I am I am absolutely content. My life is exactly the way that I need it to be because I'm here. I'm listening to you. I'm totally absorbed in everything you're saying. I'm totally absorbed in all of my own thoughts. Like I'm feeling all of these like chills and just crazy bodily sensations. And I guess it's I'm sitting here having like a out of body experience right now. Like I don't know. Like I'm sounding like a total nut job right now, but I am I am not seeking out anything right now. am totally just experiencing this moment and just loving life. I'm feeling totally blessed. I feel thankful for you. I feel thankful for all of my friends. I feel thankful for my family. Like I just feel like everything's like washing over me, and I'm just kind of freaking out. I'm sorry. I hope people don't watch this video because I think I'm acting crazy. But I like it's not. Yeah, it's not a path. It's not moving forward. I don't even know what I'm trying to say. Like joy, happiness, all of the things that we're seeking in this life is in this moment right now. That's it. There's nothing's guaranteed in the future. The, there's nothing about the past that we can alter or change or experience again. Like it ah, ah, I don't even know. I don't even know how to explain what I'm trying to say, but
I mean,
it's not
I'm
about seeking.
yeah,
It's about experiencing things right now.
yeah,
Like when you were sitting at the table and I looked down and you were totally absorbed in the conversation and like you were animated and like everyone was leaning forward and everybody was part of it
yeah,
and you guys were just laughing and having a good time. Like that was joy. That was happiness.
yeah,
That was life. That was not like trying to find a path. That was not looking toward the future. That was just sheer experiencing the now,
yeah.
the moment that you were in. And it was awesome because I did look down and it was, yeah. So, yeah, there's that. And then I'd also like at some point to get to the point where we
Yeah.
talk about like being able and willing and capable of experiencing the silence,
Yeah.
which I think is also an amazing concept. But um,
I mean, we can get into that now, unless you wanted to say anything else about that.
no, I feel like all the people that I make fun of and just like, oh, that person's just crazy. Like, what
Well,
the
you can
heck?
just tell you're excited, like something. It
Something.
moved you, and you're excited. And like one, if I can summarize,
Oh,
it
please
through
do.
my own words,
By all
right? I don't
means.
want to say they're your words, but
Yeah.
um, so often are we focused on some specific goal, something that we want to accomplish, that we forget to enjoy the moments we have with the people around us right now, that we'll have tonight, that we'll have for the next hour.
No, but okay, I'm sorry to interrupt you. But that's the thing. Like, those moments are not guaranteed.
Yeah.
Like, we think, oh, these moments coming up like, I think Pramod said that he's going to come over and watch the football game, whatever, this, that. Like, none of that's guaranteed.
Yeah.
All we have right now is this moment right here, right? And so, like, when we say, oh, I'm like, when my friends come over and we do this, then I'm going to be happy.
Yeah.
When we have a future focus, that takes away our energy, our our ability to be in the now, and like we let the moment pass without fully.
Well, I've been so focused on what's going to happen in the future that whatever moment I'm having, it'll make it seem like it's a bad moment, even though it might not be. Right? Like
Yeah,
if last night while I'm sitting there talking with everyone, I could be thinking about like, Rowan, what are you going to do with your career? Like,
yeah,
what's next? Like, you came to visit Minnesota, you're recording this podcast, and you can think all those things, but you're like, okay, what is the next thing?
yeah,
And I've just been trying to be like, I don't know. I don't know. It'll come. It'll happen. But I'm just gonna enjoy the moments I have right now.
yeah.
And it kind of and I keep relating everything. In a lot of these episodes, I'm talking about dating. Rowan's out here trying to date people. All right. I'm trying to get a date. Just because it's exciting. And a lot of the things that have happened in terms of dating, and we're gonna get to the stillness. Don't worry, we're gonna get back to that. But one thing I always did was I would think about like, oh, I see this attractive girl or I have a crush on someone and I want things to work out. I would think like, what would that relationship be like? Like what would the future be like for us? And I'm like, Rowan, you're so fixated on what the future's going to be. You're not even able to talk to her right now. Like, you're not even enjoying the moments you possibly could have with this person at being flirty. And you're thinking so much about, like, if I say this, she might think this, then that could be a good thing. Maybe that'll lead to this. Or you say this, it'll be bad. She'll think this, then she'll not want to talk to you, or you'll cross the line, or whatever it may be. And I just try to be like, anytime I see someone that is pretty and I am interested in talking to them, I'm like, just stay present. Just be aware of what's going on and just enjoy whatever's happening right now. And if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. You have no idea what's going to come in the future. You have no idea if it would work. You have no idea if you would go on a date.
Can I just say one phrase that came into my mind? Like, I'm sorry to interrupt you. Like this, I feel like
Looney Tunes
I'm
over here
freaking
keeps,
out right now.
keeps interrupting me.
Like I feel like did somebody lace my water with some sort of like hallucinogenic or something? Like I am freaking out. But for me, I think and I hope that I say this in a way that's a little bit poetic and kind of captures the essence. But
Yeah.
when we put our focus on the future, we lose our ability to create the present.
Uh, yeah.
And I think like I don't know. Am I on a drug trip right now? I don't know. But I am like I think that's beautiful.
No, it is.
Like I think for me, because I'm very future oriented as well. Like I
Yeah.
tend to think like I overthink things like, oh, what if this happens, whatever. Like I think that's a lot of us, right? Like I think that's what a lot of anxiety comes from. I think that's a lot of like depression comes from.
Yeah.
Like what could happen.
Right.
And in my experience, what I think of what could happen, rarely. Like I am
Oh.
like the worst predictor of the future ever.
I'm still so stupidly hopeful that I'm like, this is what's gonna happen.
Oh,
And then I have to be like,
I'm too
I have to
pessimistic.
be like, Rowan, it's not gonna happen that way.
Yeah.
You're thinking like delusional,
Yeah.
right? And I think everyone's got a little side of that, but trying not to lean into that so much and being more present is huge. So now I think we should get to the stillness.
Well, I think that phrase actually like is a perfect segue into like being still and letting things come to you because like in like taking yourself out of the future like allows you to open yourself up to the present, allows the present to be able to come to you.
Yeah.
When like in in my altered state right now, I swear to God, I
Yeah.
am not on drugs right now. I have not
Yeah.
done anything.
As you can see, he's not sharing.
I did I did have Chipotle. I mean, I like
Chipotle is as a drug,
yeah.
apparently.
But no, I think like the way that I'm seeing things right now, and I hope that I just don't seem like a total nutcase right now, but like I feel as if you are focused on the future, right? Like all the little doors, all the little receptors
Yeah.
of the present, like just get shut.
Absolutely.
Right? Like I just in my mind, I'm just seeing like little receptors on my legs, whatever, are just like shut. Like nothing is able.
I mean,
like,
I can even articulate in a real life example. So, like, every time I've been in a job, I am thinking, like, this job's not forever. I know what I want to eventually do. And I don't enjoy the job. I'm not present in it. I'm thinking about the future.
Yeah.
I don't really try
Yeah.
in the job. And that's actually a disservice because it's like, Rowan, you could be in this position. Like, I'm working at this bar right now. I really enjoy it. And I really like the owner. He is fantastic. He always shows up. He's an entrepreneur. We kind of really connect. And I've started to be like, I just have conversations with him and I just try to be present, asking him about how the business is going and like how things are turning into it. And I got an idea like, dude, if I like play this right, I could eventually like try to be like, hey man, I'd like to buy part of the business and like help you run it, right?
Yeah.
And that's just like be more present. Like try and engage with the people around you instead of being like, okay, I'm doing this job right now, but I'm gonna leave and go to Chicago and try and be an actor eventually. So then I don't really pay attention to anything. I don't try and date anyone because I'm like, I'm gonna move eventually. Like I don't want that. And I'm like, instead, I have no idea if that's going to happen or when it's gonna happen or where I'm gonna live next. And anytime someone asks me like, "Well, what's next?" or like, "What do you want to do?" I go like, "I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm figuring it out."
I mean, I say that all the time.
Yeah.
I honestly don't know. I have no idea.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna let the world come to me. But I think that that's super important. Like to be present and let the present like engage and kind of
Let
like
the opportunities come to you instead of seeking them out.
yeah, be engaged in the moment,
No.
right? Don't be focused on something that might happen or might not or whatever in the future. Let the moment actually like be receptive to what the present moment is offering
Yeah.
and engaged in that, right?
And I think
And
if you're constantly thinking about what's going to happen in the future and when it doesn't happen, you're discouraged. And then the moment you're having right now is not good because you're like, oh, I thought that cute girl was going to be at work today.
mm,
She's not at work.
yeah,
Today sucks because
mm,
I didn't get to talk to the cute girl. And it's like, dude, what if you go to work, she's not there, but you get to have a really fun interaction with the people at work, and maybe you make them all laugh, and you just like have a great time and make new friends, or someone comes in, or something crazy happens. Who knows, right?
yeah,
You're so focused on, oh, this thing. At least in my case, I've had that where like I was so focused on this thing happening, and it didn't happen, that I am like, now I'm bummed, and the day is ruined, or this experience is not going to be, there's no joy to be had because I'm not gonna get the future that I wanted for myself. And it's like, you know what? Like, fucking relax, dude. And to get to stillness, the moments I have when I drive home from work are always extremely still for me because I like to sit outside and I just like to think about just whatever's going on in my mind and just try to like kind of piece it together because I am in the position of like I am taking full responsibility for my life. I can create the life I want for myself, the best future. But nothing has spoken to me yet to like pursue, and I, instead of constantly searching for it, which I've done for so long, it's been painstaking. I haven't had success. I've tried multiple things that just have not worked. And I'm tired of trying to put so much effort into searching for it because it makes me feel less than.
well, you know what? Um, I think I think you're wrong. I think I just heard you like give a 5 minute little speech
Mhm.
saying that you want to pursue this podcast. I think this podcast has spoken to you.
Yeah.
It has said, Rowan, this is important. This is something that
Yeah.
I would like you to pursue. You know, whoever, like whatever little voice, like that voice is saying, hey, buddy, this is something. Like
Yeah.
this is a pursuit. It might not be the ultimate, like ultimate path that you need to focus on, but I think that's the importance of stillness in my aspect. And I think one of the things that I do very well is
Yeah.
I'm not super motivated or like prefrontal cortex, like planning and like having a huge type A, like I'm going to accomplish this and this and
Yeah.
this. But in the stillness, I actually have the ability to pay attention
Mhm.
to what the world, what my body, what my mind, what my interactions, like what's going on. And I think that that ability, that maybe gift that I have been given has allowed me to, one, like live the life that I've led, but also be comfortable in not knowing because I just, in the stillness, I feel okay. I just realize that I have the skills to navigate life and that like when I have the chance to be still, I just listen, I pay attention and life, like what I receive from life says, Hylan, you're gonna be okay. You are where you need to be. You are here. And here is like we know you, we see you,
Mhm.
we got you. Like the world is whispering to me like, we got you, buddy. Like you are well taken care of. And yeah, I think this is just becoming more and more fruity as we go,
Well, what
man.
I'll say is that
I give up.
no, you're fine. So like when I meant by the podcast, instead of me outwardly thinking for like what I should do to have success, is when I was in the moments of stillness, I was just kind of reflecting on what I've been doing and what I am passionate about and what I feel like I'm good at and what has felt good. And podcast came up in my brain. So
Yeah.
instead of me out searching for it, it kind of came to me
Yeah.
in those moments of stillness, being like, oh, I think that's actually something that I should pursue more because why think that I can't do this thing when I sit here and we record it? I believe in it. I believe it's good. I'd like it to make it, a little bit more professional. And sometimes, we get a little wacky with what we say. But we
Yeah.
do have so many good interactions that feel very positive for us. And if they feel positive for me and they feel positive for you, I think the right people will also listen or watch. Available on YouTube. Hopes and hopes. And it'll feel good to them. And there's gonna be a lot of people out there that are gonna watch this or listen to it and be like, I have no idea what they're saying, and this makes no sense. And I shouldn't care about those. And not I shouldn't care about those people, but I don't care if you don't like it or not. Like that's okay. You're not gonna
Yeah.
like everything I say, and you're not gonna like everything I do. And that's just a better way to approach life and be. I just want to be more calm and collected and not so anxious about what I should be doing and how I'm not doing this to get to that point. Because I have created like I kept saying I want to be a comedian, and I've talked about it a lot on the podcast. And then I will write some stand up jokes. Like anytime a funny joke comes up in my brain, I'll write it down. And ever since I've been like, Rowan, don't put so much pressure on being like, you have to be a comedian. Because then anytime I didn't go and do stand up at an open mic, any day I didn't write a joke, I was like, I felt bad. I made myself feel shame and guilty because I'm like, you're not pursuing the thing that you said you wanted to do.
Mm.
You're not doing enough. Whereas I feel like now I'm like, Rowan, you get up, you do the things that you want to do that you're enjoying. If a funny idea comes to your brain, it comes to you. You're not searching for it.
Yeah.
I write it down and then I continue on with my day. And eventually, hopefully an opportunity will present itself for me to share that. And it has. Like a lot of the jokes I've been writing down or the moments. Last night I was telling the guys,
Mm.
like how I was woken up the other morning. Like that was all a joke that came up and I got to share it. Not going to share it on the podcast because those people listen to the podcast and I don't need to have that conversation.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
So with all of that being said, email us at noteboatpod@gmail.com and let us know what you thought. Let us know what drugs you think Hylan's on. And, if you ever want to read the book that this crazy man wrote, it's
Yeah.
called Swimming Backwards Upside Down. And it's available in the podcast description.
And like aside from the title, it is much more coherent than what you might believe it to be.
It is extremely coherent. It helped me a great deal. I highly recommend it to people. And I'm just teasing. You're not crazy. But I don't know. This was fun. Thank you guys for watching and listening. And we'll see you guys in the next one.